There you are. I've been looking for you. It's time to start preparing lunch. Well, we're going to do something a little different today because we're not having a Knorr, we're not having rice, we're macaroni and cheese today. So, to that end, I've already started some water to come to the boil. Put some salt and stuff into it. Because, let's be clear, I just noticed it's shells, not elbows. But she knows I hate shells. Oh well. Let's be clear, the only way to get flavor into pasta is to put it in the water now. Otherwise you get no flavor into the pasta elbows. So with that in mind, I got something to try. I've had these once before where we used them in other recipes, used them in other things. That's a bouillon cube, boys and girls. Biggest bouillon cube I've ever seen. But it's not a meat flavor. Oh, no, 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 no. This, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, is a tomato bouillon cube. And I'm going to chunk off a piece of it and chuck it in that pot and see if we can't use that. Now, I know you're going to say, but you're going to waste it. You're throwing it into the water. It's going to be thrown out when you're I'm only looking to add some flavor to the noodle, the elbows, shells, whatever. Okay, we're just a small chunk, just to add some flavor to the noodles, the shells. I'm not worried about throwing away most of it. Just put some flavor into the water to help flavor the shells. Let's call this an experiment. If it works out, fine. If it don't, I've used a third of a cube. No big deal. No waste. No loss. Well, not much loss. Like I say, I'm just trying to bring a little flavor to the party here. I'm not trying to create a dense stock. I'm just trying to put some flavor into it, period. And can you see how quickly my windows have fogged? Oh my goodness. Well, we'll just have to get around to doing something about that. Okay, we'll need a fork out. Got my big spoon for stirring. Got the knife for the wieners. Yes, I'm going to cut wieners up into it again. But they won't go into the pot until the last second. And guess what? I'm even prepared for this. I don't normally do pastas that I got to boil and drain. But every now and then I do ramen, which really is a pasta. Yes, I'm even prepared in my truck with a little strainer. Now you understand why some people refer to me as the last Boy Scout. Because I really am almost always prepared for just about any eventuality. Margarine. Wait a minute, I don't need margarine. Why did I put that in there today? Don't know. What we need is a couple wieners and my yogurt out. Now, I'm not going to bore you with the details of cooking pasta. Cooking the actual shells. I'm sure you all have seen that before. So we'll get back to you when it's a little closer, ready to start spooning up. Catch you in a little bit. Well, welcome back for a brief moment. I've come up with a quick little cheat here. When I was opening the box of shells to get the shells out and to get the little bag of pre-prepared cheese sauce out, I realized that cheese sauce was ice freaking cold because it's been out in the truck all night. Well, take a look at what I decided to do. I just tossed that pouch of cheese right in there and let it get a little heated up in the boiling water. Guess what this means? This means when I go to put the cheese sauce on the shells later, it's not going to chill the shells down quite so much. And it should squeeze out of that pouch a lot easier if it's not too hot to handle, which I will take out a couple minutes before I'm ready to start eating the shells. Let it cool off just a smidge so I can squeeze it out without burning myself. But just a life hack I thought I'd throw in there for you to consider. Well, stay with me, folks, and we'll get to eating in a little bit. Come back. Now then, I have taken the opportunity to go ahead and drain the pasta. And it's now drained. I'm putting it back into the pot, just so you can see what I'm doing here. Yes, I went ahead and tossed my wieners in, took out the cheese pouch, tossed in the wieners so they could get hot. And guess what? I even saved the boiling liquid, because that is so tasty. I'm going to drink that like a broth with that tomato stuff in it. Now, yes, I let it boil. I took it out and let it cool off to enough where I can handle it. It's still quite warm. So, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that is some of the toughest foil I've ever run across. And I mean tough. Let's tilt you down here so you can see what I'm doing. Ooey gooey cheesy, huh? Now, remember I said my idea of putting the pouch in the pot wasn't to cook the cheese, but to warm it through to make it a little easier to get it out of the foil pouch. Remember, the contents of this foil pouch is already fully cooked. And I suppose there are folks out there that are going to say, well, but you don't know how clean the people were that put it in there. Trust me, I heated this up enough that the contents was well above 180 degrees. So I'm not going to worry about that. Okay, let's give this a bit of a stir and see how things work out. Now I can tell you the reason I don't like shells is they never get thoroughly cooked enough for my liking. Oh, how you like that? I sat there last night and took one of my bundles of paracord and did that bad boy up in a heartbeat. Now, you're going to say, but Prepper Embarado, there are paracord donuts all over the internet. Yes, there are. But how many of them took the time to incorporate a ring to make it easier to clip via carabiner to your pack? Think about that. That's something you have not seen on YouTube. That's what I'm showing you. Better way to clip it to your pack. Yeah, okay. So I'm showing you I made a donut. Big deal. I'm not going to sit here and give you a blow-by-blow how-to video on how to make a paracord donut. You can find that elsewhere on the internet. But the idea is that a carabiner doesn't exactly fit through that donut very well. And you need a better way to clip it on to your pack than that. Now, I could just take a piece of the paracord and leave it sticking out and create a leash, but that wouldn't look so good. So what I did is I took my tag in and I weaved it in here. It still sticks out just a little bit, but not much. Yes, that's my burn job there. The other end is buried deep inside the donut. So before I got to here, when the tag end was still back over here, I leashed my split ring into the lower level of knots. And then as I got here with the tag end, I put my loop through and then came up through the loop to create my next knot and just kept going. It's not a difficult concept, boys and girls. Anybody can do it. All you got to do is think. I'll show you the concept. Show me you got some brains and can figure it out. Okay, here we go. Now, boys and girls, all I've added to this macaroni and cheese that as it came out of the box is I put some plain salt in the boiling water, and then I put that little piece of a bouillon cube I showed you into the boiling water. That's it. Nothing else has been added to this pasta other than the wieners. And that means it's lunchtime. Let's have a taste. Oh, goodness. How you like the sound of that highway out there? Goodness gracious. Okay. Once again, the shells never get thoroughly cooked as I'd like. Especially when you get 2 or 3 clumped together. I suppose it would help if I had more teeth. Cheesy wise, it's got a pretty good flavor. Definitely a passably decent flavor. The broth. And boys and girls, there's nothing in the cooking liquid that's going to hurt you. A little salt, a little tomato bouillon, and some starch. That's all that's in that water. And guess what? Oh yeah, and some flavor from the wieners cooked in it too. Guess what? That means it's nutritious, replaces electrolytes, and because I added the tomato bouillon, it's tasty. You know, America has a problem. We boil our foods to death, and then we dump the water, which contains 90% of the vital minerals and vitamins, down the drain. The healthiest part of your household is the sink drain. That's where all the nutrients go. Why waste it? Drink it. Still way hot, but tasty. Well, not the best cheese for a macaroni and cheese box dinner I've ever had, but not the worst either. This would be Loretta brand deluxe shells and cheese. That's what we're tasting today, boys and girls, and it says here, put on the cheater so I can actually see, made with real cheddar cheese. Okay, it does have a slight cheddary flavor, but I'd be willing to bet that cheddar flavor is about 1/20th of what's in the cheese. And if you all pay attention to YouTube at all, you'll know there's a channel out there called Our Half Acre Homestead. There we go. I'll get it straight. This is a shout out to Mrs. V. I have adopted her as my surrogate mommy. I like a lot of her recipes. She has this rant that she goes through every once in a while about don't buy pre-shredded cheeses. They contain cellulose fiber, the cellulose material. And she says it's made from trees. It's wood. Well, I don't know about that. Every pre-shredded cheese I've ever bought, I saw that it said something about containing flour, which could be considered and construed a cellulose material. Now, I don't know what she's buying in Canada. unless in the last few years, and I haven't checked this, please don't misunderstand me, I haven't checked up on this in quite a few years. I said the last time I looked into it, and this was quite a few years ago, they dusted the shreds with flour so they wouldn't stick to each other and made a better looking product in the bag. Is it possible they've switched from flour to something else? Sure. I haven't looked into it. I'm going to be. But it all goes back to one thing, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Critical thinking. If you don't use the incredibly large melon on top of your neck for something other than a hat rack, what good is it? So I'm not going to tell you which way to jump on this issue. I'm not going to tell you to follow behind what Miss Volpe says or to put down Miss Volpe for what she says. I don't know which is true, honestly. But I just thought I'd mention it for those who follow me and may have not have heard of Mrs. V. So go out and check out her channel, then look into it for yourself and make a determination. And if you find that she's correct and it's something you don't want to do, you don't want to be putting wood fiber into your body, then vote with your dollars and your feet, move down the aisle and pick out a solid chunk of cheddar or a solid chunk of mozzarella or whatever, and not buy the pre-shredded, and then shred it yourself. Is it less convenient? Yeah. Is it less likely to bring you something other than pure cheese? Yeah. A lot less likely. You see, ladies and gentlemen, when you rely upon a stranger to do the work that has always traditionally been done in the home kitchen, you're at their mercy. And if they're a truly honest company, they're not going to add adulterants. Yes, I said the word adulterant. Here's another channel for you to go check out. James Townsend and Son. Pay close attention to their discussion of leavening. And you'll hear that word again, adulterant. It was an issue way back when, in this country, when people were adding foreign substances to the bread to make them way heavier, to make them look whiter, to make the poor quality flour work better, so on. One of the things they used to add was limestone, chalk. Yeah. It's a simple story that my grandmother, my father's mother, used to tell me. Buyer beware. Read the package before you purchase, and then decide for yourself. Don't blame the other guy. Don't blame your mother, because she always bought it. Things change over time. Possibly your mom was buying Durkee spices 50 years ago, and they were great. And now maybe Durkee Spices is adding adulterants to bulk up so they can get more money out of the same pound of seasonings. You have to do your own homework and make sure what you are buying is the same as what you remember your mom buying. You can't rely on, oh, my family's always bought this, we'll continue buying it for the next 100 years. You don't know who's running that company now as compared to 50 years ago. You have to do your own research. You have to repeat the research. Let me give you an example. I am a very long time and happy customer of a given insurance company. Doesn't matter which one. I've been their customer now for 25 years. Why am I still a happy customer of that one company? Because every 3 years, I do the research and I go out and I get quotes from about 30 different insurance companies to ensure I'm still getting the best possible price for my product. To make sure I'm still getting the best quality product. So on. And They've beaten every company every time I've gone back to check them out, and I'm a happy camper. Am I saying that this is the right company for everybody? No. And I'm not doing a free commercial for them either. They don't want to pay me. I'm not going to say their name. I'm simply going to tell you that this is how you make sure you're still getting the best product for the best price, is do the research and use a little critical thinking. Don't rely on Joe Schmo telling you, oh, I get a better price at... Yeah. Somebody tried telling me go to their company. They're getting insurance for half of what I'm paying. Yeah, when I got to doing the research, they're getting half the insurance that I've got. And it's only a 6-month policy, which means they're paying 4 times as much for it. Their policy is only a 6-month policy, and they have half the actual coverage that I have. So they're only paying for 1/4 the coverage I've got at half the price I'm paying. So you have to bulk up the coverage, double the money of their policy, and then a full year, double it again. So in the long run, they're paying 4 times to get the same coverage I've got. Are they crazy? I explained it to them, but they won't look into it. They won't change their mind. They won't. Fine, they're happy with what they got. Well, I've gotten off on a tangent. This has been Lunch with Emberado, and we're having macaroni and cheese with cut up wieners, and it's pretty decent. So I'm going to eat. We'll check you later. Peace out.